Never had a man who soared so high, fell so hard and low. Job, a man who was blameless and upright, and one who feared God and shunned evil, was not only the wealthiest of all men, but he was also blessed with many beautiful and godly children. Then, he lost everything. With God's permission, Satan attacked Job and took away his family, wealth, and health. Not only had he to endure these sufferings, he also had to endure the accusing of his friends. What man know more about suffering than Job? Who knows more about pain and suffering than Job? Yet, in the midst of his pain and suffering, Job still retained a state of peace. And it is precisely through this peace that led him to bless the name of the Lord. What kind of peace is this that led a man to bless the name of the Lord instead of cursing it in times of great distress and persecution? This peace of Job's is something that we are not familiar with in the modern age. I am going to argue that the modern age has cut us off from this true peace that characterized Job. Peace is a sacred word, so sacred that St. Augustine had devoted chapters in the City of God to explain this term. Peace, to St. Augustine, is everything in its rightful place. For example, in the classical understanding, perfect health is obtained through the perfect balance of the four humors: yellow bile, black bile, blood, and phlegm. Which is pretty disgusting. But well, perhaps the best example of this as everything in its rightful place is the presence of agape in the Trinity. As each of the Trinity empties themselves to glorify the others, the Father always pointing to the Son. This is my Son, whom I love. Listen to him. And the Son always pointing to the Spirit, and the Spirit ultimately points and leads us back to God. Peace, in this context, is created within the cosmos. On the other hand, this peace is so good, so true, and so beautiful that it now requires us to seek the heavenly and transcendental realm of understanding. To be more precise, peace is no longer an object of knowledge. Peace is knowledge. Peace, therefore, serves as a way, a worldview in which we perceive the world through. To be more precise, again, we cannot define peace, but that peace defines us. This vision of true peace, where man finds his perfect relationship with his Creator, and where true love, agape, is realized, has been largely forgotten in the modern world. As actor Anthony Lawton, who adapted and performed The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis, noted, those of us who are wretched invent our own reality. When truth seems too cruel or unbearable, we make up our own truth. And that is exactly what the modern age did to peace. I am going to argue that the modern age has cut us off from true peace, and it does so by 3 steps. First, it cuts us off from true peace by preventing us from contemplation. Second, it cuts us off from true peace by minimizing the cost of pain and suffering. Third, the modern age cuts us off from true peace by replacing peace with security. First of all, the modern age cuts us off from true peace by preventing us the enjoyment and obtainment of true peace. Andrew Louth, a theologian and professor at the University of Durham, pointed out that originally, contemplation was only reserved for monks who chose to live in monasteries, essentially to live a life empty of sinful distractions, so that they could focus all their mind and intellect in contemplating God and his creation. Contemplation, as stated previously, contemplation serves as a way, a world, which helps us to encounter peace, and peace helps us. Peace is a worldview in which we perceive this world. Therefore, contemplation serves as a means in which we know this world. However, through the means of the social media and the entertainment industry, the modern age has made it virtually impossible for us to enjoy contemplation, to embody contemplation. As a result, the common modern man cannot sit through a sermon or a thesis without checking his phone for any missed calls or text messages. How can we have true peace and contemplation when we are surrounded by the unceasing noises of the television, tabloids, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube? Through solitude, in order to have peace, we must be able to have solitude, where we are emptied of our sinful distractions. Through solitude, we're able to practice contemplation, because it is only in the quiet of our time can we hear God's still small voice. Second, the modern age cuts us off from true peace by minimizing the cost of pain and suffering. John, a character in Brave New World, who famously uttered the line, "I want sin," recognizes this need for peace. He recognizes and realizes that in order for there to be true peace, the need for that peace must first be recognized. This need for true peace is most recognized, unfortunately, in times of pain and suffering. We have all had experiences when we call most desperately unto God, when we are suffering the most. In fact, the most beautiful psalms and prayers written in the Bible were not only written in times of victory, but also in times of outcast, persecution, and death. Going back to John's remark, "I want sin," if we never recognized that we are sinners and are in desperate need for someone, for a Savior who can grant us this transcendental peace, how can we ever receive it? We need to realize that ugliness is there so that it can be redeemed. Sin is there so that it can be forgiven. And pain and suffering are there so that peace can be received through comfort. Christ is the perfect example of this, as he is the Prince of Peace. It is not until that he suffered on the cross the price of salvation is finally paid. Similarly, peace cannot be received until we sincerely cry out like John, "We want sin." Third, the modern age cuts us off from true peace by replacing peace with security. After rejecting God as the sole giver of this peace, the modern man seeks to find substitutes that fulfill this desire for peace. And one of the things they found was quick and easy security. Instead of seeking to live a peaceful and virtuous life, the modern man instead seeks to live a secured life, essentially a life with no risk. This can be seen with the government trying to manipulate and coerce us. It is called social security for a reason. One of the other ways the modern age tries to cut us off from the pursuit of true peace is by advocating and promoting materialism and consumerism. We constantly see advertisements that constantly advertise products that promise a better lifestyle, a better body image, a better self-esteem, better sex life, better health, or just a better life in general. In truth, none of these products will change anyone's life. But since true peace has been cut off by the modern age, the modern man has no choice but to accept security as a substitute. Alexander Solzhenitsyn recognizes this problem with the pursuit of security instead of peace. In his Harvard commencement address, he argues that the constant desire to have still more things and a still better life and the struggle to obtain them imprints many Western faces with worry and even depression. The modern age tries to satisfy the infinite need for peace with a finite means of security. As a result, the modern man will never have enough. Through my three arguments, I have established the way the modern age cuts us off from true peace. However, some might argue that the modern age is not so bad. They might argue that true peace and faith are still available in this modern age, now through modern churches. However, what they do not realize is that the modern churches have also been radically secularized. One can almost assert that the modern churches actually serve as temples for the worship of these secularized teachings and principles. These secularized teachings and principles are the focus on the sovereign self, the system of age segregation, and the method of church marketing. Through these seemingly effective ways to attract believers, the modern churches have ceased to be places that promote true peace, but instead become places that encourage Christians to demand instant gratification and results. What difference is there between the modern church and the modern age? How can one possibly expect true peace from the secularized and modernized churches? I once again assert that true peace cannot be received apart from a classical Christian understanding, which is not found in the modernized churches. On the other hand, some might argue that they are peaceful, that they have found peace on their own and are completely satisfied with their own version of peace. To this I would ask, if the peace that they have found is only for them, then how is this peace true? If something is only true for some and not others, how can this thing be universally true, good, and beautiful? This is, again, the particular effect that is seen with ample evidences in the modern churches. The focus on the sovereign self. Peace in this secularized context becomes a personal belief that can define however one wants to. This is not true peace. True peace, because of its transcendental value, ceases to be a thing that can be defined by us. Instead, we are defined by it. Return with me now to Job. We have attributed Job's refusal to curse God's name to the true peace that he has received. But it is not until the last few chapters of the book of Job that we finally got a glimpse of this true peace. As God manifested himself and flung at Job 64 questions, we finally realize the answers to Job's suffering. God had granted Job the ultimate peace, himself. This is true peace, when answers are no longer needed, when we are satisfied with just the presence of the Lord. It is only through acknowledging that we are sinners, are in desperate need for a Savior, for a transcendental one who can grant us his peace, that true peace can flourish and live in us. It is only then that we can truly rest. Wake up, Hashem.